Hey guys, what movie we watching this week?
We have a combination of The Sixth Sense plus The Other with just a little dash of Jacob's Ladder mixed in there. We're watching the 2014 Austrian horror film Goodnight Mommy. Just a dash of Jacob's Ladder.
Just a dash. A
the
pinch.
twitchy stuff. Just the face twitch. The twitchy. So.
A skosh. Skosh.
Right. You're right. Yeah. Welcome back, listeners and viewers. It is April, and we are kicking off another month of your favorite podcast. Let's talk about flicks.
It's my favorite podcast.
It's my number one podcast. The weekly podcast where we discuss movies that tie into a theme for the month. New month equals new theme, and this month's theme is what, Curtis?
It's movies about creepy kids.
Yeah, creepy kids in movies. Not
yes,
for,
there we go.
Yeah, not movies for creepy kids or creepy movies for kids. Hey, creepy kid, here's a movie for you. I see you staring at me. Go watch Gremlins 2.
Get your face out of my picture window.
And go watch... Oh, well, I don't know. I almost said Freddy Got Fingered, but I don't think that'd be a good one to give to a creepy kid.
Masters of the Universe.
Right, there you go. Go check out Gwildor. He likes to look in windows. Yeah, so we're kicking off April with my pick this week, Goodnight Mommy, a subtitled 2014 Austrian horror film. Actually it wasn't nominated for an Oscar for foreign film, but it was nominated to be nominated for an Oscar. This was Austria's submission. It wasn't picked, but it's all right. And so, yeah, first of all, let's give a quick shout out. Well, okay, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And when we're on episode 23 here, and sometimes we just forget the fundamentals of introducing
on the
ourselves.
Road to 20,000.
We don't want people to think, who are these guest hosts this week? We do want to thank our Patreon subscribers, Melissa L. from Woodstock, and I'll throw the other one out. I forgot to write it down in my update. So we will a nice Patreon bread of this sandwich. We'll start with one and end with one. So
there we go.
Yeah. So let's get into this movie, shall we? What do you got for characters? What do we have for characters? I'm interested to see what you come up with, because I have 3.
That's how many I have. 3 characters. There's a few others that pop up here and there, but there's really 3 of consequence, and that's Elias and Lukas, twin brothers, identical twin brothers, or so we think, and Mother.
Or Mutter.
Mutter. It's depending on how accurate you are with the pronunciation and your dialect.
Mutter.
Mutter.
So, yeah. So that's it. Yeah.
That's really all you need to know for characters. Elias, Lukas, and Mutter.
Mutter. Yeah. So, with 3 characters, there's not a whole lot of room for stretching your legs and meeting other people. So let's get right into the plot. We kick off this film. It's a very quiet movie. It really is. There is it fills the scenes with visuals. It fills the scenes with walking. It fills the scenes with trampolines. And so we kick off playing in the rain. Cockroaches. We kick off the movie with the twin boys, like you said, Lukas and Elias. They're just playing hide and seek in a cornfield.
That's it.
Yep, they're just out. They're 2 twin boys without any other friends in an area of Austria where there's nothing else to do. So they're out playing in cornfields. They're investigating dark corridors. They're going swimming together. At one point they're just having like a slap fight.
Yeah.
But they never fight. Like, they just get along and they're hanging out.
Just kids doing kids things, brothers doing brother things. I think they're 9 years old, I believe.
Yeah, and so as they're entertaining themselves, a car pulls up and mom's home. Bringing mom home, and we see like right away, Mom has had some extensive facial surgery, but we don't see the extent of said facial surgery because she's covered in gauze. So she's home from surgery, and I put my notes that this woman must have been ugly because this was crazy surgery. Like, it was just, give me the works, doc. Just
what do you want done? Yes.
All of it. Just all of it.
Check every box.
And so she spends a good portion of the beginning of the movie just covered in gauze, and asking the boys, I need you to be quiet. Yelling, no music, no people in the house. Just, I need my rest. And after surgery like that, you would.
These are the new rules.
Yeah. So the boys, they just continue doing what they're doing. They're just out playing. Then we get everybody's in the kitchen. Mom and the twins are in the kitchen, and Mom's pouring a glass of Kool-Aid. She's making supper for just Elias. And it's right there. You're like, something's a little off here. She's just paying attention to one kid, and Elias is like, well, Lukas wants some too. Like, what about Lukas? She's like, well, you know about that.
Yeah, she kind of sighs. She kind of gives an exasperated, like,
right. So we get the vibe that somewhere in between the scenes, whether something has gone wrong. Like Lukas is the troublemaker. He's on Mom's bad side, even though she's been gone getting surgery and has been resting. But something happened off screen to add a little tension to their relationship.
Yep. At the mention of Lucas's name, Mom gets visibly upset.
Right. Yeah. She's a little irritated. So now the three of them are playing 20 questions. They're putting little Post-it notes on their head with who they are. And Mom's just ignoring Lukas. Like every guess, he just keeps repeating himself. She's just ignoring him. Yeah. She's ticked off at it for some reason. Elias will steal his guess and then she'll listen.
Then she'll answer. She'll respond to Elias.
Yeah, it's just this. It's an awkward, situation, and we don't know what came of it, what started it. So
yeah, Mom, it's like Lukas isn't even there.
Right. It is. It's like he's some, I don't know, like he was a Lukas and there's no longer, I don't know. He seems invisible. Maybe with her eye transplant, she just can't see him.
She got some gauze in her eyes.
Right. So Elias is brushing his teeth. He's like the world's largest cockroach crawling on the wall. He's just watching it. Oh my gosh. This thing is like,
there's a big cockroach.
It's like movies based in Austria, but this is a Madagascar hissing cockroach. Like thing is
one of those like enormous ones.
I mean, so big that it falls off the wall. The weight of the cockroach, its legs aren't strong enough to hold it on a vertical surface.
It's probably slippery drywall.
Yeah, probably.
That's a bad drywall job.
Yeah. There was a little extra eggshell in that paint on those walls, and that's just not good for cockroach grip.
That's the old test. That's how you test a good drywall. You put a Madagascar cockroach on it.
You test spaghetti by throwing it against the wall to see if it sticks, and I'm sure that's how you test the dryness of paint.
Yeah, you throw a cockroach at it.
Madagascar hissing cockroaches. There's got to be some use for them in the world.
Makes sense to me.
Case closed.
You're welcome, Dutch boy.
Right. Take that, Sherwood. So Mom's working on the boys again. Guys, I need you quiet. I need to rest. Elias he's got 2 shells. Hey, Mom, we got you a gift. Here's like baby conch shells. Here's one from me, and here's one from Lukas. She only takes Elias's shell. And it's like, but at the same time, like, Lukas isn't putting up a fight either. Like,
he's just kind of there. He's like, oh, okay.
It's almost like he understands why he's being punished, and Mom understands why she's punishing him, and it's Elias that's trying to be the peacemaker here. Mom's in the bathroom. She's kind of unwrapping gauze, or no, she's got the gauze off her head, kind of checking herself out in the mirror. Elias kind of sneaks up and he's checking on her. We see, she's got one of those like 10 times magnifying makeup mirrors, like those were all like pore blaster makeup mirrors. Where if you really want to look at
pore blaster,
I think it's Con Air's like mid-tier makeup mirror. But yeah, if you want to look inside the follicles of your eyelids, then you get one of these 10 times magnifiers. So Mom's got one of those, and she like catches them out of the corner of their eye. She's still bloodshot, which we haven't seen her bloodshot the whole movie. Like, we've seen her, and she hasn't been bloodshot, but she takes the gauze off, and apparently that loosened up the blood vessels, and that blood just gets to flowing. And so, it's creepy. Like, everything, it is a horror film. So, everything here is, it's just quiet. And so it's really letting the tension between the characters kind of set the tone. And so, again, the next day, the boys are entertaining themselves. Mom's asleep. The doorbell rings.
Uh-oh.
And Elias gets a little worried because nobody's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Mom's asked for quiet or whatever. And so, they let the doorbell ring, and he goes and checks on her, and she's asleep. And then he walks out, and we hear a crunch. And then she's just eating cookies in bed. Like, she's totally like she'd fit right in Central Illinois. Like, I'm not watching my kids. I'm going to eat cookies in bed. But it was just the grocery delivery guy.
Yeah. He had a lot of pepperoni pizzas, too.
A lot of pizzas. Even comments how many pizzas he's brought to them.
It's like a year's worth of pepperoni pizzas.
Yeah. And even then, when Elias, he checks on Mom, he's clearly let the guy in. He goes down in the basement where the deep freeze is, and Lukas is just standing there watching him. And this guy doesn't even register that there's anyone there until Elias gets down there. It's weird. It's like Lukas isn't even there.
Yeah, it's like you'd think the pizza guy would make small talk with him.
Right, and now we start to see Mom get weird. Yes. The boys are outside jumping on the trampoline, and she's looking at him through the Venetian blind. Or no, they're not Venetian blinds. Venetian blinds go up and down. She's looking at him just through the blinds, and then she turns and looks at herself in the mirror. She's just checking out her boobs in the mirror. That's what she's doing.
I imagine that's how she frames it too. I gotta give the old boobs a check.
Well, she maybe hasn't looked at him with her new eyeballs. I don't know.
That's true. Do they look the same?
I don't know, but she's just checking herself out in the mirror. And it's, and it's like, all right, it's not gratuitous. We're very voyeuristic as an audience because we're looking at her do this through the blinds. Yeah. And so
if she's giving herself a self-examination, that's her business, not ours.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's safe. That's smart. She's of an age where, that could become something prevalent. And I'm not sure if there's a Susan G. Komen Foundation over in Austria. So, just check yourself. That's your PSA for this. So
the more you know.
Right. The boys are still out playing. Now they're playing in a graveyard. Why wouldn't they be playing in the graveyard? For the middle of nowhere, because they seem to live in the middle of nowhere, there's so much to do. There's graveyards, there's catacombs.
Yeah, there's so many types of little mini landscapes, mini environments. Like there's a huge cornfield right there.
Yeah. Right? And they catch up with the farmer later who's just burning hay, and it's like these boys are covering a lot of ground.
Yeah, they are. They get around that neighborhood.
What do they find down in the catacombs of this cemetery?
Well, I think you kind of call it there. You know what they find in the in the catacombs? They find a cat in the catacombs.
They did. They found a cat in the catacombs. I'm going to go ahead and pretend I did that on purpose because that was not intentional. But yeah, and by the way, these catacombs are not they're probably not up to code.
No.
It's like a cave, like a man-made cave full of human bones.
I think the health department would probably have something to say about that.
Right. And so, but again, it's like on the outskirts of this graveyard. So I don't know. Maybe once you get below the surface, it's just one mass grave. And everybody gets, their 6-foot portal down to the catacombs. Or here's
gotta,
where your bones go.
You got to put them bones in some kind of knapsack or something.
Right. So you know who's who. But this cat doesn't care. This cat is down in the.
I mean, it's a cat. Most cats don't really care about much, anyways.
No.
You'd think that they wouldn't. It wouldn't discriminate about how many human remains it's
right. This is probably cat heaven. Like, I'm alive, surrounded by dead humans. This is great.
I've won.
And so they bring the cat home. Mom has said no animals. Like, nobody's in the house, no animals. She knows her boys. I need rest, and everything that you guys are probably going to do anyway, please don't do. And of course they do them all anyway. So they bring this cat home. They put it in a box underneath the bed, and
because that'll work.
Mom doesn't even see the cat, but she just freaks out on Elias. Like, tackles him into bed. She's kind of like fighting, like she's attacking him. And he's trying to stop, and Lukas is yelling stop, and end scene. Mm-hmm. Mom gets all weird again. What does Mom do now?
Well, I mean,
Mom heads to the woods.
That's right.
Yeah.
In a kind of an odd scene here, Mom starts walking through the woods, and the camera's kind of following her, and she starts disrobing.
Yeah, she doesn't even start dressed to go to the woods. Like, you get the vibe that, like, she's barefoot. They don't show it, but you get the vibe that she's barefoot.
I mean, you at least want to have a pair of socks on if you go to the woods.
Or Crocs or something.
Yeah, maybe some flip-flops.
Yeah, I would say so. Moccasins.
Yeah.
Snowshoes.
Maybe those, like, bear slippers that look
ice
like bear claws. Yeah.
I don't know what season it is in Austria, but
golf spikes.
Tap shoes. I mean, there's a plethora of things you could wear to the woods in Austria. Mom doesn't wear any of them.
No, none of them. She chooses
matter of fact,
which is just preposterous.
As soon as she gets to the woods, she realizes she's overdressed.
Yeah. Pardon me. Am I the only one here wearing too many clothes?
I don't see any clothes on these trees.
So she promptly undresses herself and then unwraps her face.
Yeah. And which we think this is the first time that we would get a glimpse of Mom's face. And, so her back is to us, and the camera's slowly panning around. And right before we see her face, she gets all twitchy. Like, her face. If you've seen Jacob's Ladder, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen Jacob's Ladder, it's a better movie. Go watch that one. But her face gets all twitchy, and so we don't get to see Mom's face. But at the same time, like we talked pre-show, is this a supernatural movie? Because one thing we haven't addressed up to this point is the boys don't think that's their mom.
Yeah.
That's the whole premise of this movie thus far, is Lukas and Elias are convinced Mom didn't come home.
This is somebody else. This is an imposter.
This is someone else. This is an imposter. This is not our mom. Even when they are playing 20 questions. Right? They're playing 20 questions earlier, and Mom has her name on her forehead. And the boys are giving her all these clues about who she is, and she doesn't even guess herself. Like, you've got 2 kids, and she's like, I don't know. You're a television personality. And I mean, it's like all these clues that it's her, and she won't guess herself. So the boys are very convinced that you're not our mom. What did you do with our mom?
Well, and to add to their speculation and their paranoia, they were looking through some photos, and they came across a photo of Mom, a younger Mom, with another woman who looked exactly like her, and they're dressed the same.
Yeah, yeah, and so it really is leading down this path of the boys have a reason to doubt that that's Mom, because we've got twin boys, and this new Mom. I mean, she just ignores one of them completely. So, the boys they're determined. We got to figure out who this lady is. What'd she do? What'd she do with our mom? Because this is not the lady that left. This is the lady that came back. And so what do you do when you aren't sure the person that you believe is there is not really there. What do you do? What's your test?
Stool sample.
I'll tell you, mine is I do what the boys do. I sneak into this person's room while they're sleeping, and I put a cockroach on their face. Mm-hmm. How they react to the cockroach on their face determines whether or not they're really alive or not. And this cockroach crawls right into Mom's mouth, and it's a Madagascar hissing cockroach, the same ones that test paint dryness.
Yeah.
And it just crawls right down into her mouth,
right down the gullet, right down the old food hole.
It never crawls back out either. So
I'm sure they're edible.
Oh, they're high in protein.
Good protein there.
Right.
It's like eating a bunch of beans,
or just one giant bean that hisses.
The hissing bean.
They've got jumping beans in Mexico. Why can't they have hissing beans in Madagascar?
That's true.
So, it's just like, ooh. I mean, I even have down here. That's gross. Like, you just watch it and you're like, oh, it crawled right in your mouth. Like, ugh. It's one thing for like a little bug to crawl in your mouth, but like the world's largest bug that these boys have an ample supply, by the way. Like, so many cockroaches.
Well, she just sleeps right through it too.
Oh yeah, well, it's because it's not really mutter. So they believe.
Mm-hmm. I mean, by logic, though, if it's another person, you'd think they'd react to the cockroach. But
what if it's But what if it's not a person? Because I've never seen anybody shake their head as fast as she shakes her head. So I don't know. Maybe it's an extraterrestrial.
Maybe, and I know that this isn't the right order in the movie, but maybe that's how she like regurgitates the cockroach.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess if you haven't seen it, you'll just have to watch it and find out for yourself. Or stick around as we cover the rest of the movie.
Spoiler alert!
We've got and really at this point, we just have a whole bunch of scenes. Elias is playing piano. He's looking at photos. He takes a photo. The boys Google their mother. Like, they Google Mom and they find out their house is for sale. I think. Now, I will, like I told you pre-show, I started this movie a little after 10 o'clock last night, and it does have subtitles. So a subtitled movie late at night. My notes here, let's put it this way. The more I go into my plot notes, the more squiggled underlines I have.
I watched this movie on the subtitled movie. I watched on my phone. While my kid was like playing a video game next to me, like, so, and asking me for help every 2 minutes. So I was not as attentive with this one as normal.
So like my next note here says, boys sneak into Mom's room to plant a monitor to the. Mm-hmm. They put a baby monitor underneath her bed so they can listen in on her.
They bugged her room.
Because what's the theme of this month's movie? What's the theme of this month of our podcast?
The movie's about creepy kids.
Yeah, and so there's nothing. Movies. I can't think of anything creepier yet than putting a cockroach in your mom's face and then putting a baby monitor under her bed so you can listen to what she's doing when you're not in there.
Listening to her digest the cockroach. Right. Mom's extra gurgly tonight.
We've already seen her give herself a self-exam, so I hope these boys aren't listening all the time, because I don't know if they're quite ready to find out what Mom's doing all the time.
I doubt she was verbally narrating her self-examination.
No, but you don't know how I might feel good. I don't know. So Elias, he overhears his mom on the phone, and she's just kind of, she's saying things like she's getting over it. The cat's missing. They find the cat. The cat's dead.
Yeah.
And so, my notes get really, really bonkers at this point. I'm like looking at them. I'm like, oh man. I have 3 notes and one like ungrammatically correct sentence here. Boys bottle up roaches. They put cat in water. Mom puts roaches in the water. Like, It's just
Well,
I don't know.
despite the fact that that's pretty much what my notes say too. Like,
okay, good.
like
I don't think I missed it. I'm just trying to
yeah.
I'm typing on my iPad as I'm watching the movie. So, but I don't want to miss the subtitles, so I'm not watching what I'm typing.
Yeah.
But I also don't have I have an on-screen keyboard, so I can't feel my way around the keys. I'm just hoping my fingers are in the right spot as I'm slapping the screen.
Well, I think the most important part of this part of the movie is kind of what you were going with before, when she's on the phone with someone and she says,
Yeah.
I won't play along anymore. I have to make him stop. He has to face it. So what's the it in this circumstance that's got her so worked up?
Yeah, I agree. So, we're at a crossroads here. The boys they don't believe that that's their mom.
Mm-mm.
And they are definitely down a path of, we're going to do everything we can to figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, she can't seem to get through to one of the boys about what it is. And so, we've got, in famous Gorilla Monsoon speak, we've got an irresistible force meets an immovable object.
Gorilla Monsoon.
WrestleMania was this weekend.
That's true.
And so nobody's giving any ground here.
Yeah. Well, she even says, like, I'm only putting out one set of clothes. I'm only making one breakfast.
Yeah, right. We don't even know who she's talking to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've referenced Dad, but we haven't seen him at all, and that's okay.
maybe the frozen pizza delivery guy is still there.
It might be him. You just called to see. Did you get your order, man? I'm only putting out one breakfast.
Something that's been on my mind regarding this. You never see what brand of frozen pizzas they are.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. I mean, it could be Tombstone. It could be Palermo. It could be
Jack's.
Could be Home Run Inn.
Could be Red Baron.
It could. I bet you it's the Baron. I mean,
it could be DiGiorno.
It's probably the Baron because they're speaking German.
I bet it is. I bet you're right.
Yeah,
it's Red Baron.
That's the only pizza they have in Austria. Right. Is Red Baron.
Yeah, that's it. The Baron's corner of the market.
He's got them all,
and they're all pepperoni.
Yeah,
it's the only pizza you get in Austria.
Uncured pepperoni pizza. Red
Baron frozen pepperoni pizza. And that's probably why Mom eats cookies and cockroaches. She's just tired of the Baron.
I can't take one more Baron pizza. She probably got so mad that she just picked up a Pizza Hut out of the oven and just cream pied herself in the face with it.
Just third-degree burns, and that's why she's not bloodshot. She's not bloodshot. She's pepperoni stuck in her eye.
She's got pepperoni grease.
She's just out in the woods trying to shake it off. Can't get the bear grease off, no matter how much gauze I put on my face.
That's why she's wearing such little clothes. She doesn't want to get grease on.
Right. That's all there is bear grease.
It gets everywhere.
Oh, these kids.
They don't know how good they have it.
No, they don't. Elias just calls her out. I mean, he just straight questions like, are you actually our mom? And then they ask to see her birthmark.
Yeah. That sets her off.
Yeah. And so you're right. Mom locks them in their room. It's just, I mean, she's had enough. Because it's like everybody, I won't say everybody's crazy, but everybody is just so dead set on their mission that there's like, there's no conversation going on. Mom's trying to get over the... Go ahead.
So there's no willingness to listen. There's no empathy extended at all.
No. It's just straight, you're not our mom. And she's like, I am. I've had, let me see your birthmark. Oh, the birthmark on my cheek? Well, I just had reconstructive facial surgery because I slipped and fell on a red hot Red Baron pizza. So
it could have happened to anyone.
Cut me some slack, Elias. So Mom locks him in her room. But when Elias wakes up, the door's open. And this is another kind of weird part of the movie that, it is a dream. I guess I have it here in my notes that in his dream, Elias wakes up, door's open, and he goes into Mom's room and he finds Lukas cutting open Mom's belly and all these cockroaches crawling out. Now, we saw her eat a cockroach earlier, so it's not far-fetched that this is actually happening. But he does wake up from his dream. Because if there's one thing...
No, finish your thought, please.
I was going to say, if there's one thing this movie was lacking, it's someone waking up from a dream by sitting straight up in bed gasping. Because, you know, how they wake up from dreams in movies.
Yeah.
Oh. So, anyway, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I mean, it's a scientific fact that Madagascar cockroaches, hissing cockroaches, are really hard to digest.
Yeah. They multiply.
Yeah.
That's their failsafe, is if you swallow a Madagascar hissing cockroach, they don't die, they multiply. They're like gremlins. Yeah,
it's the perfect fertile grounds for reproduction, for asexual reproduction.
Yeah. They actually, this is an Earth-based remake of the movie Alien. So, spoiler alert.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This is when the boys decide we're going to make it really hard on mom, and we're going to make an effort to look even more identical. And, all right, like, she was already ignoring one of you anyway.
If she can't tell us apart,
which one's here?
She has to treat us both, yeah.
So, and mom's made quite the recovery as well.
Mm-hmm.
So she comes to the door. She doesn't have any bandages on anymore. Hey, guys!
Yeah. She said she's not mad anymore.
Right, I'm not mad anymore. My face is fine.
That's how she introduced herself to him. Hey, guys! It's
hey,
me!
Guys! Here's a boomerang!
Your real mother!
Right? And even though they were based in Austria, I'm going to give you a boomerang from Australia. I don't even know where I'm at.
That's right. I forgot about the boomerang.
He just hands him a boomerang. She's been home for like a week. Like, okay, I made it. I told myself that when I got my bandages removed and I look perfectly normal, I will gift you with a boomerang.
Well, I think it's if you buy 100, Red Baron pizzas, you get a free boomerang.
I think so. They stole part of the plot line from Punch Drunk Love, where you get all these frequent flyer miles if you eat enough healthy choice pudding or whatever it was, and instead they're like, ooh, Red Baron and boomerang. That's the Australian equivalent.
It's like they're
Austrian equivalent.
It's like they're saving up tickets at Chuck E. Cheese and they cash them in for a boomerang.
Right. So you just keep your UPC symbols, kids.
I'll
72 Red Baron pizzas get you a boomerang.
I'll take 20 bags of Little Green Army Men, 7 Tootsie Rolls, and a boomerang.
All right, done, mutter. And so, she looks good. She's made a full recovery.
Yeah, she's great. She went from fully bandaged to fully not.
Yeah, here's a boomerang, and she's like, "Can we go outside?" And then they just push past her and run.
Oh yeah,
like
they sprint out of there.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one for a minute because my notes make sense. But they don't make sense. Like,
well, I doubt your notes are too far off here.
Okay, like, are they notes about a nonsensical part of the movie?
Well, I would argue the whole movie is pretty nonsensical. However, they go sprinting out, and they're full speed ahead. They are at an absolute dead sprint.
Right.
They come across the field with a man, burning, with
hay.
like
he's burning straw or whatever. Yeah. And he's like yelling at him. We can't hear him.
Yeah, that happens. They come across a church.
Okay.
And there's a guy sweeping up there. He's like the priest's assistant or something. And I
remember this.
They try to tell this guy that we need help. And the man never looks at the boy on the right side of the screen, by the way. And,
Lucas?
Yeah. And so
he's not even there.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Poor Lucas.
And then they're in the car, and the priest is driving them to what they think is the police station, but he ends up just taking them home, and the priest takes mom's word for it that everything's fine. She tells the priest that there was an accident and that the separation have made things difficult, and the priest leaves, and they're fine. Mom locks all the doors, takes her medication, cries herself to sleep, and that's that scene.
Were they walking through like an abandoned town?
There was something there, but like that's where they came across this
Okay.
this
Priest.
priest or whatever, or like the priest's
Okay.
helper. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, it didn't really matter anyways. It was just one of those like, oh, they're almost away. Oh, no, not they're
Okay.
not.
Because it was another one of these, like, how far in the middle of nowhere do you live if you're coming across a town?
Yeah, it's one of those like horror scenes where like the person who's kept prisoner almost escapes, but then they get caught.
Yeah. Right.
Like that's really
priest.
that's really all it is.
And it's like, so my notes weren't too far off. Fair enough. So I have something here. Mom locks them in their room. She gets upset. The boys are actually hiding under her bed, although I mistyped and put head. And then now things really hit the fan.
Yeah, this is when the movie puts its foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah, I was awake for all this because I was just like,
and the parking brake at the same time while they're while they're jerking the wheel into a bridge embankment.
Right. Yeah. This is absolutely factual there. I don't know where I was going with that. It's going to make some sort of like Gina Davis, Alec Baldwin, Beetlejuice reference. Like, they steered off into, but yeah, you're right. Like things get kind of intense here.
So that's an understatement.
They tie Mom to the bed. And then they open the blinds and they start questioning her again.
Mm-hmm. Where's Mom? Where's our real
Where's Mom? And then they bring up the lady in the photo. Like, who, basically like, is this you? And, she's like, no. It's, she's like, just let me go. Like, it's me. Yeah, that's my friend. Elias just gets very standoffish.
Mm-hmm.
Mom is just begging to be cut free. And Elias starts to free her, and Lukas stops him, and they start questioning her missing birthmark. Apparently she had a birthmark on her cheek. And so now just like, you're missing your birthmark. So then we cut to the window's still open and the boys have a magnifying glass and they're like burning Mom's face. And she knows what it's like because she has face first into a Red Baron pizza.
Hot out of the oven.
Right. But this is excruciating because this is centralized. This is this is the burning of 1,000 Red Barons right there in one spot. They're just burning her face with this magnifying glass in the sun.
They literally burn a hole in Mom's cheek.
Which, I don't think would work because I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but the sunlight's coming through the glass, which is already going to distort it some. So I don't think it's not full on sun rays hitting the magnifying glass. But I don't live in Austria. Could be different over there.
It's no double pane window by any means.
No. And so they tape her mouth shut, and then the most forward Red Cross employees ever.
Yeah, a couple of people show up. Yeah,
no, they ring the doorbell. Nobody answers.
So they
check the doorknob. Doorknob's not locked.
They let themselves in.
Yep.
Hey, we're here from the Red Cross. Care to give a donation? We'll show ourselves in. That's okay.
Yeah. Hey, Red Cross. I honestly, the Red Cross part is all I remember, but my notes, like, way to go, cognizant me, taking notes on a scene that I do not remember. But yeah, they let themselves in. They kind of start snooping around. It's kind of a cute scene because they're two like older Red Cross volunteers or employees or whatever. So like as they're snooping around, they just like occasionally, hello,
yeah,
like, Red Cross, like, we're just gonna
no assumption that at the possibility that someone might not actually be home.
Right. But we're gonna go through your stuff and then just occasionally holler out who we are, to justify why we're in your home. And so, the boys stop them because they're like headed up the stairs. The boys stop them, and the Red Cross. We'll stay. Our Mom's not home. She's not home.
We'll stick around. We'll wait for Mom.
We'll just stay until she gets here. Because why wouldn't you? So the boys just make a donation so they go away. Mom's working on getting the tape loose by moving her lips around. I think the cockroach probably crawled back up and pushed it out for her.
Thank goodness for that cockroach.
Yeah, the tape comes loose. Mom's yelling out, but it's too late.
Yeah,
the Red Cross folk are down the path. But the boys, they can't run this risk again, so they super glue her mouth shut. They unleash the Craggle, and
Craggle.
They bring out the Craggle, and they super glue her mouth shut. I am very impressed with my note taking on this movie that I've kind of dozed off through. Apparently, the boys made her a pizza. They whip out one of them Red Baron, which is just a horrific, traumatic experience.
Yeah, why make her relive that? I mean, that's probably the worst trauma that they could have inflicted on her.
Actually, yeah, up until they start to cut this part was actually pretty gross.
Yeah,
they're cutting the super glue away from her lips.
It looks like they're using like the really sharp like medical scissors.
Yeah.
So this isn't like your like orange handled like kitchen scissors.
No, these aren't Fiskars. These are these are medical grade. Scissors here, and they're just snipping away, and then they miss, and blood everywhere.
Yeah, they catch Mom's lip.
Yeah,
everybody knows the lip is where blood pools in the body.
Right. That wasn't. It may have been a full-grown earthworm, actually. But yeah, it's a major artery.
They probably nicked the cockroach.
Major artery right there on the bottom lip.
Yeah,
it's just blood spraying everywhere. No, not quite like Kill Bill, level of blood spray.
It's not quite cone spraying, but there's a lot of blood.
There's a lot of blood surfaced right there. And so they just want to feed her pizza, but they have to. But it's like now she's got a mouthful of blood, and then it would have been funny though if they still made her eat the pizza. And
double pepperoni, just like you like.
But they're still questioning. They still want proof. Like you're not our mom. Prove you're a mom. And she pees herself.
Yeah.
So the boys untie her so that she can change the sheets. They're holding like this baby crossbow on her.
Yeah, they sharpen like the little wooden darts down to like use a box cutter to sharpen them to points.
Yeah, and so a bunch of little crossbows and bolts there. And she tries to this part. Like I'm forgetting all of it until I'm reading it in my notes. It's like all unfolding. Like she tries to run away, but they've put a piece of tripwire because. Maybe I should have called this Home Alone in my movie Marriage. Well, they got a piece of tripwire outside, and she hits that tripwire and falls face first, smashes her head. But it's like the camera cuts away just at impact.
Yeah.
Like it's enough that you're like, ooh. It's a lot like it's the curb stomp scene from American History X minus Edward Norton. It's just the curb stomp.
Yeah.
Self-inflicted stomp. Smacks her head. And when she comes to, Elias has got her tied up again. And that's
actually, they glued her to the floor this time.
Oh, yeah, and they glued her eyes. Well, I thought they had her eyes glued shut, but I don't think so. But you're right, they glued her to the floor. And this is where Mom drops the big reveal that ties into the movie Marriage. If you're paying attention, of The Sixth Sense and the other, what is the big twist?
Lucas was never there.
No, Lucas has been dead all along.
No way, did not see that coming.
No, I did not see it at all. I definitely did not pick it up when she poured one glass of Kool-Aid at the very beginning of the movie.
Or when no one looked at or acknowledged Lucas in any way.
For the entire runtime. The only person that spoke to him was his twin brother,
and all of the reflective shots and framing and all that.
Right. So Mom's glued to the floor, and the cat is in an aquarium full of lighter fluid. I guess
like
I don't know,
kerosene or something.
Right. So basically, Elias has gone off the deep end here.
Mm-hmm.
He is dead set. You're not my mom. She's like, your brother's dead. I'll go back. I'll pretend. I'll start making 2 breakfasts. I'll start laying out 2 sets of clothes. Like, it'll be okay.
Yeah,
we'll
work through this.
I think Mom's finally kind of realized that, I mean, he's he's clearly got some, just he's lost his twin. He's got some issues resulting from that. And Mom's answer to it was, I'm not going to feed into it any longer. And this is what happens when you didn't feed into it. And you went and got mangling facial surgery, which made you some weirdo. So Elias sets fire to the house because he's like, this is it. You're not my mom. He's still, he's gone. He's so far gone that there's no bringing him back. He sets fire, sets the dead cat who's in the kerosene on fire. Lukas, which of course we now know is Elias. I guess I could have gone Fight Club with this movie marriage as well. They set the curtain on fire. The curtain burns to a point where it falls, catches Mom on fire, because the aquarium kind of bursts and all this kerosene's flowing. So Mom, I guess I could have gone Dark Knight with my movie marriage too. Oh man, I have so much potential. This has been it's like a 27 dresses level movie marriage. And so all of she's covered in kerosene, catches on fire. The house burns down.
Yep. She goes up Toxie style.
Yeah. And then the camera takes us through the cornfield at the beginning of the movie, and all three are reunited outside the cornfield. Yeah. Now, I don't know if Elias was still alive. I don't know if Elias died in the fire as well, and that this is Force ghosts all reunited.
This is his version, Elias's version of heaven?
Or if Elias is still alive and now, because he's been with Lukas through the whole movie, so now he's with his real mom and Lukas through. Of course, it's been his real mom the whole time anyway, but it's just, I don't know. And it's okay that we don't know, because it's, you're not going to lose any sleep over it. Mm-hmm. So that's it. It jumps in, it jumps out, and, there we are.
Yeah, and the mom or mom figure, whoever puts her arms around both boys at the end.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of smiles at the camera. They're all happy.
Yeah, good for them.
There you go. Goodnight, Mommy.
Yep, that's it. That's 2014's Austrian-produced German language subtitled Goodnight Mommy.
Right.
We're at the point in the show here where we give our own unique rating to the movie we've been yabbering about. How would you rate Goodnight Mommy? Goodnight Mutter.
Goodnight Mutter. How would I rate it? I'm gonna go 6.5 slices of Red Baron pizza.
I was also working at a frozen pizza scale, so
I stole. I'll go 6.5 Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. 6.5 cockroaches.
I'm gonna go 6.5 dead twins.
Yeah,
the wrong kid died.
Because we gotta work in Dewey Cox. The wrong twin died.
Wrong twin died. So, I don't know. I'm giving it 3 ratings. What are you going to rate it now that I've stolen all of your ratings?
Oh, whatever. Let's go with 53 overly intrusive Red Cross workers.
There we go. Those two were they were awful.
They were sweet people though. They didn't mean any
really
harm.
Were. They just were. Almost like we made our way all the way out here. We might as well check out the inside. Wait.
It's on the market and everything. Right. You know what it could be? Something we didn't mention earlier. The boys came across Mom's dating profile.
I forgot about that.
Maybe the Red Cross members found the dating profile and they were there to pick up Mom.
Maybe. So, good night, Mom. Now, the boys were not going to enjoy what they heard on the baby monitor that night.
With those 2 Red Cross workers.
It's like no reason to give yourself a self-exam tonight. You got Jerry the Red Cross worker.
Jerry and Rhonda.
A nice Austrian name like Jerry and Rhonda.
Yep. I think Austrian. On that note, let's smoothly transition to the 3, 2, 1.
So smooth.
This segment
goes down smooth like a cockroach.
Smooth as a Red Baron pizza. This segment, Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 from the film we just watched, the film in question this week, Goodnight Mommy. Oz, kick things off with your three goods.
All right. Well, my first good is there. It really was a quiet movie. The lack of score and most of the movie, I think it really did make the scenes a lot more unsettling. I think as movie viewers, especially horror fans like you and I, we inadvertently rely on the music of the movie to kind of set the tone for what's going on and what's happening.
To cue us. Oh, it's creepy music. I should feel upset. I should feel
and Hollywood absolutely has that down to a science where, even jump scares are built on sound more than they are in imagery. And so for the filmmakers to take this approach of let's strip all of basically all the ambient sounds, all the music, let's just pretty much strip it all out and just let the scenes unfold. It really made some scenes more unsettling than they may have been, just because we were living in the unknown as well of, is this supposed to be as uncomfortable as it is? Is it made more uncomfortable because how quiet it? Just so many unknowns there. So that's my first good. The lack of score really kind of helped add to the unsettling tone. I thought these two acting twins did a fine job.
Yeah.
They actually are named Lukas and Elias. Their character names were their actual acting names, and they are actually twins. And I thought they did a fine job. Because as identical, they are obviously identical twins, but I thought Lukas did a great job carrying a facial demeanor that differed him from Elias the whole time. Like to see these two, you could tell they're identical twins, but yet based on their acting talents, you weren't confusing them for one another. And I think that is a testament to their ability. And so good for you, boys. Keep it up. I also, and this is more just because it's a foreign film, which I have absolutely no problem with. But watching it late at night when you're tired is a little bit much. But there was really very little dialogue, so it made the subtitles very manageable and didn't detract from the horror elements of the movie or really any part of the movie. So there's nothing worse than dozing off during a foreign film when they're talking a lot because you aren't catching any of the dialogue. There just wasn't a ton of dialogue, so I didn't have to worry about that. So those are my three goods. How about you?
My three goods, the first one I'd go with the cinematography. There were some clever framing and the way they shot some things, like Elias would be walking through the scene or something, and he would walk off camera, and it would linger on Lukas, or like Lukas would sort of step out of Elias in some ways. So there were some clever bits that they did with that. Some of the reflective shots in the water and whatnot. Kind of told some of that visual story. I'd say my number two would be I like some of the subtle special effects they worked in. I think there were some effect shots in this, but it wasn't over the top, like the burning of Mom's face, for instance.
Right.
Like the cockroaches in Mom and things like that. So, they used it for its intent. Was to get through the scene, not sensationalize anything or become overly reliant on it. But I like subtle special effects. And this movie made good use of them. Although there was one not so subtle special effect at the end when Mom was on fire, but that's
But you know what? I was okay with that, as I really didn't want them to set her on fire.
Yeah. But special effects were a thumbs up in this movie. And my last, this movie, although the ends do not the means do not justify the ends here, it just reinforces the fact that trauma is a real thing. Trauma impacts people in ways that we cannot even begin to imagine, and the best way to help someone who has experienced trauma is to empathize with them, not judge them, not doubt them, be real, be empathetic, and be genuine with them. And unfortunately, Mom doesn't catch on that right away. Granted, she has been through her share of trauma. However, it does not seem like the proper supports were in place to help the boys, and probably help Mom as well.
Right, because, granted, the focus being Elias has lost his twin, but Mom's also lost a son. So, they both, there was a bridge there that could have been crossed and just wasn't. And so we end up gluing Mom to the floor and burning her up.
Yep. Probably could have been avoided. But
Possibly.
probably.
Right. But instead, she was, going getting facial reconstruction surgery.
Yeah.
So that's not the medical attention you needed, Mom.
Yep, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Oz, what are your two bads?
I found Lucas being dead was obvious very early on.
Yep.
Very early on. And that's okay.
They telegraph that one.
Well, and it's not so much that it was telegraphed, which it was, don't get me wrong, but that they never stopped telegraphing it. I'm going to use a movie that's done it much, much better in The Sixth Sense. Spoiler alert, which if you haven't seen it, it's your own fault.
It's been 23 years.
Right, exactly. That, we find out Bruce Willis's character has been dead all along. But he is interacting with things enough in the movie that we don't necessarily catch on. They're not telegraphing that move. Once you find out and watch it again, now you see it all laid out in front of you. So it's like, good for you, M. Night, to really deliver it in a way where it's like you're watching a whole different movie the second time you've seen it. This one, however, right, as soon as you realize, which happens different times for different people, of course, but once you realize, like, wait a minute, I'm not sure Lucas is even there. There's nothing through the movie to make you think otherwise. Like, Mom doesn't accidentally call Elias Lucas or anything. Like, it's just Lucas is gone. No one's going to look at him, interact with him, talk with him, except Elias. So there's really, there's nothing to talk you off the ledge of once you feel Lucas is dead in the movie, there's nothing talking you out of it.
Yeah.
It's just there. So that's one for me. My second, I really, really didn't like the misdirection to protect the twist ending by making Mom appear to be something she wasn't. Mm-hmm. Those couple of scenes where she was kind of weird, especially the woods scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You and I talked pre-show. It led to a lot of questions of, is it really Mom? Yeah, I believe it was. And if it was, then what's that scene about? It doesn't fit.
No.
And so that's my other bad, is misdirection is fine. I get red herrings in films, etc. But it didn't serve a purpose other than just to muddy up, maybe we laid it on a little thick with the Lucas is dead stuff. Let's try and redirect people into thinking that Mom's really something she's not. And then they did it one time and never came back to it. So that's my other bad. What are your two bads?
My bads, I think they're going to, your second bad and my two are all going to kind of follow the same theme. My first is that the introduction of Mom's doppelganger, like the friend, I don't know, it seemed like it kind of overly complicated things. I get that it's it was another reason for the boys to doubt, but they were already doubting before they even came across the picture.
Right.
They confronted her with the picture one time, but it was in a laundry list of things that they were confronting her on. And they never really circled back to it. They never really explained who this person was. Again, it's, as you said, it was just another red herring, basically. And then kind of speaking of another, I'll go with my other bad, the video dating profile that she did was, I think, also supposed to be another sort of red herring in a way. But again, it didn't go anywhere. It's just a lot of wasted movement, wasted time.
Yeah.
And again, it adds to the laundry list of things that the boys were doubting, but they were already doubting. You mentioned it, within the first 10 minutes when they're playing the Guess Who game with the Post-it notes, they were doubting then. They didn't need these other artificial things to right. Oh, okay, well, I guess that's another layer to this mystery, Scoobs.
And I think a lot of her efforts made it even worse because, again, they're 9 years old. Mom left looking fine. She comes home. She's covered in bandages. She's not acting right. Well, she's medicated or whatever. So it's very common for a 9-year-old to be like, that's not my mom. Mm-hmm. That's not my mom. and she doesn't do anything normal to quench that curiosity. She almost leans into it. Yeah. And it's like, it's like, how hard is it to convince a 9-year-old that you are who you are? Like we saw Happy Hogan convince, Peter Parker in one sentence that he is who he is, and when he was, after he fought, Mysterio and was confused, and like if Happy Hogan can convince him, then Mom can convince these 9-year-olds.
Yeah, she should.
This is the podcast. Yeah, this is the podcast where instead of talking about the movie we are talking about, I just try to refer to as many other better movies as possible.
The wrong twin died.
Oh my gosh. I would have given this movie a perfect 10 if she were to say that at any point.
This is a particularly bad case of a mom bursting into flames.
Elias, the wrong twin died.
And Mom falls out the window and the radio hits her in the head.
I think I've seen this movie.
taking its cues from somewhere. Well, lads, that leaves us with our one huh. What's your one huh for Goodnight Mommy?
Oh, I talked about it a little bit earlier before the show, but
yep.
I don't like crappy trailers. The whole purpose of a movie trailer is to convince an audience to go watch the movie that you have set out. A trailer should be full of scenes from the movie spliced together in a way that leads curiosity into a theater seat or to a download or to a purchase. The movie trailer for this movie juxtaposes two scenes together that are not in the film together. There's the scene where the cockroach crawls into her mouth, and an earlier scene where she's eating cookies in bed while pretending to be asleep. So she crunches one when Elias leaves. In the trailer, they edit those two pieces together. So when you're watching the trailer, and the boys in the trailer are like, "You're not my mom. Where's my mom?" Or whatever. Like, in the trailer, the cockroach crawls into her mouth, and then she crunches, leading us, the viewer. Again, trailers come out before the movies come out. So as we're watching the trailer for this movie, we think, "Oh my gosh, she's going to eat a cockroach in this movie. She's weird." So, like, get out, boy. Like you're thinking, this is a survival movie for the boys because this person that can't. Like, everything in the trailer led down a path to think Mom is not who she is and the boys are in danger because she eats cockroaches.
Yeah, who does that?
That scene does not exist in the movie. It is two pieces of two completely separate scenes edited together in the trailer to misdirect the audience. Shame on you for the trailer. That's my huh. Why would you do that?
You must hate all MCU trailers then, Oz. Because the way they edit them together now these days, because people know that they watch trailers so closely for Marvel releases.
In all fairness, I don't watch the MCU trailers because I know I'm going to watch the movie anyway. So, but no, I know what you're talking about, though. I know it's a common practice. I've referenced it before on this show. The worst trailer I've ever seen is for a Billy Crystal movie called Forget Paris that came out in the 90s. He's a NBA referee, and the trailer is full. It's like 2 minutes of him cutting up jokes with current, at the time, NBA superstars. And I'm like, this movie looks great.
Chuck Barkley.
Right, like this movie looks hilarious. Billy Crystal is this tiny little NBA referee. This is going to be great.
He's yucking it up with the mailman.
Yeah. Literally every scene of him refereeing in the NBA in the movie is in the trailer.
That's it.
There's only like two minutes of it in the movie. The rest of it is some romantic movie set in Paris. So it was like, it's targeting a demographic that doesn't want to see your movie. So this isn't quite that bad, but Mom, I wanted to see Mom eat a cockroach.
I know, right? That was the promise that the trailer gave me.
She just ate like a wafer cookie.
That's not a cockroach.
Not at all. Mm-hmm. Not even they don't even have them in Madagascar. What is your huh?
My huh, we discussed this one earlier, and I'm kind of picking up low-hanging fruit here, but those Red Cross members were I'll just show myself in, because no one's home, and I drove all this way, and I mean, doors open.
You imagine if Red Cross employees and in America did that. Like, oh no, you don't have to come to our blood drive. We'll come to you.
Yeah. Oh God, in
Don't bother getting up.
In America, they'd be threatened with firearms.
Oh, absolutely.
But in Austria, I guess it's okay for Red Cross members soliciting donations to just walk into your home and wait for you to get home. That's basically and interact with your 9-year-old child.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'll wait. I'll just hang out with this 9-year-old in this house with no other adults around.
I have on the smock. You know I'm legit.
Nothing weird or creepy about that.
Nope, not at all. And the boys, they just pay them and they leave. Here you go.
Well, was it they take money out of mom's purse?
Yeah. Because mom's got her mouth, because she's tied up with her mouth taped shut upstairs. Nothing wrong with that.
You wonder how long they were there.
I don't know. Mom was working long enough that mom knew they were there. She was working hard, but
yeah, she was. But I mean, they sat down at the dining room table. They didn't just linger in the doorway. They came in the house and sat down.
They were in the house. They were. We'll just wait. We'll wait. So, okay. In all fairness, I didn't mind this movie. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't awful, but
no, right. But it's now you're not taking any social commentary from this unless you're searching for it. Like your piece there on trauma and whatnot.
Trauma is bad. There's your commentary.
Right, and so but no, this is it's fine. It wasn't a bad movie. It just was okay, I've seen it. That there's many other movies I would recommend prior to this one, but there's also many other other movies I would not recommend over this one. So if someone's like, hey, I have an hour and a half, should I watch Goodnight Mommy or Urban Legend 2? Urban Legend 2, I'd be like, just go ahead and watch Goodnight Mommy. And so, but it was fine.
It was okay. It was.
Anytime I can squeeze a horror movie into our podcast, I'm going to enjoy it. So with that being said, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun enough. It had some good moments.
Right. And like I said, it wasn't gross in a gory way, but they were just kind of creepy. Just like, oh, here, let's put a cockroach on mom's face. That was squeamish. I guess it was more, parts of it were squeamish.
Sure. So. Cutting mom's glued mouth with those medical scissors.
Oh, I know. That was awful. That really was awful. That was painful. Or watching her smack her head on the ground when she trips over that tripwire. Like the editing choice there was perfect because you just saw the impact and then boom, it was gone. Yeah. So, all right.
That's Goodnight Mommy.
Week 1. Yeah. What are you bringing next week?
Next week, I'm bringing I think it's 56's The Bad Seed. We're going back for this one.
Yeah, we are. Black and white. I've seen this movie. Have you seen
I have not. I have not seen The Bad Seed.
It's been several years since I've seen it. But it's good. It's a well-made, well-acted movie. Obviously, being as old as it is, and with a child as the lead, we're not looking at gore or anything of those. But it's good. It's well acted. It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. And as a father of a younger daughter, I think you'll really enjoy it. You'll really enjoy what I think it's a. Who's the lead? I want to say Maureen McCormick, but I don't think that's right because that's
that's Marsha Brady.
McCormick sounds I know right. That was wrong. I got it here.
I see who can get there first.
No, not the lead. Nope, not that one.
The lead. You're gonna get there. The Bad Seed.
Because I typed in Bad Seed, not The Bad Seed.
The Bad Seed.
There it is. 1956 is correct.
Patty McCormick.
Patty McCormick. They're probably cousins. How many McCormicks could there be in Hollywood?
There's a whole litter of them.
Right. So, Patty McCormick.
Patty McCormick as the Bad Seed.
As Rhoda Penmark.
Rhoda.
Rhoda.
It's a name you don't hear enough of these days. Rhoda.
No. Other characters are Emery. Although we do, there are Emerys. There's an Emery in our district. Leroy. Yeah. Hortense. Mrs. Hortense.
Hortense.
Hortense Daigle.
If we have another dog, if we get another dog, I'm gonna pressure Melissa L to go with Hortense for the name.
That's right, guys.
I'm gonna pressure our Patreon subscriber.
Yeah, we let our Patreon subscribers pick our animal names.
By the way, as wrapping things around, you want to shout out our other Patreon subscriber?
Yes, Don S. Thank you, Don S, for your Patreon subscription. We do offer 2 levels. $3 a month gets you a shout out in every episode.
Everyone.
And $6 gets you access to a monthly mini episode that we only have 1 subscriber for, but because you know her so well, you have said that, you've kind of forfeited her access to mini episodes.
I act out her mini episodes for her.
So, yeah, she picks the movie and then you act it out.
Yeah.
On a one-man show. Right, so Melissa L., if you can convince any other person you know to join the 2nd tier subscription on Patreon, then we will have to produce many episodes, and then you'll get access to all the back catalog of many episodes, of which right now there are none. But I know you and I well enough that on our road to 20,000, we can find a movie or two to do many episodes about.
There's a couple out there.
So, yeah, Bad Seed 1956 for next week. That'll be fun.
It will be, yeah.
In our creepy kids in movies month.
Yes.
Whew, that's a tongue twister. Creepy kids in movies. Yeah, we've got 4, and then like I told you, my daughter is really pining that we switch the months around to bring creepy movies for kids into May. But no, I told her no. She can wait.
Well, we have our alliteration month for May, so.
Yes, we do, and I am very much looking forward to that month.
Yeah. One might say I'm mad about it.
That's right. That's right. It's our Paul Reiser month, everybody.
Mad about May. All Helen Hunt and Paul Reiser.
Oh, yeah. We're watching Twister and Aliens and
As Good as It Gets.
As Good as It Gets. And then we're going to watch every episode of Mad About You and talk about them all in the final week of May.
Everyone.
April Fools. We're not doing that. Hey, you remember that really sweet April Fool's joke that I played on you when we were living up in Fox Lake together?
Was it one of the times that you scared me?
No. This was like a mousetrap, like board game level of stuff where I laid the saran wrap of honey outside your door.
Oh, yeah.
But then I locked the upstairs bathroom door so that when you stepped in the honey, you would have to go downstairs to the kitchen. But I also took Scotch tape and taped the water gun to the faucet so that when you turned on the faucet to clean the honey off your feet, it would spray you in the chest.
Yep, I remember it now. Speaking of trauma.
And then, hold on, I'm not done. And then while you were downstairs tending to that, tending to that fiasco, I took a bunch of like thick plastic hangers and slipped them underneath your fitted sheet. So when you came to bed that night, it would be very lumpy and uncomfortable. And you would have to, I was the best roommate.
And then you put a hissing cockroach on my face.
And then I put a Madagascar hissing cockroach on your face.
And I got you back. Go ahead.
And then I threw a red hot Red Baron pizza in your face.
Yep. 3 facial reconstructions later.
and this is what you look like now.
Yeah, this is the me now. I
it's a vast improvement.
I asked the surgeons for a 6 out of 10.
I want to be modest. That's it for this week, guys. Thanks for coming and listening to us talk about a movie that was nowhere near as funny as we joked about it. We'll be back next week with The Bad Seed.
The Bad Seed.
You know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, review, share, tell your friends. All those things that us in the media production world enjoy, because without you guys, we're just a couple of friends that talk on the computer and make fun of movies. So we love the fact that you're listening. keep that up, share it with everybody.
Contribute to our media empire.
Right. Help us help you give 20,000 things to listen to. You could catch us on all your favorite podcast apps. Just look for Let's Talk About Flicks. We do have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Of course, we're on Patreon. We've mentioned that. We've got a website, so if you want to catch back catalog episodes, you can listen on a browser window. You can listen on Facebook. You can even watch all of our episodes on YouTube if you want to see what Curtis's 6 out of 10 looks like.
Yeah, you can memorize them and yell at neighbors or passersby in the street.
Yeah, absolutely. You could punish people that you don't like with, sending them links to your least favorite podcast. Let's Talk About Flicks. Either way, we appreciate it. So thanks for listening out there. This is episode 23. And so we are just chipping right away. We're almost half a year into this already.
I know, right?
It's a little nuts. It's a little nuts. My kids are like, "Are you doing your podcast?" And I was like, "Oh man, we're closing in on half a year," which is great because I don't know if you've looked. I just keep adding categories to the spreadsheet. Stuff that I'm like, "Oh, this will be fun. This will be fun." I remember when we had the conversation before we even started, when we're like trying to come up with topics to do for months, and now they just flow out. Like I added. I'll share just because why not? I added. There we go. Monthly topics. I've added. Today, I think I added 3. I added movies with the state in the title. So I added return movies, just movies that have return in the title. And then, of course, why not? We can't leave this out. Trauma films. I don't know why we haven't had that on there yet. But trauma films.
If we had any kind of financing, our financing would be pulled for trauma films.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's okay. Tune in to see what we're talking about. So I think I added those 3 today. So we went from what are we going to talk about on this for a whole month to, I know.
We could probably we could probably get Lloyd Kaufman to do a cameo.
Oh, that would be fun.
I mean, we go back with him.
We do. Lloyd. You know what? I don't know how good his memory is, but I would say I know it's fresh in our minds from obviously years ago, but it was, I wouldn't think things like that happen to him all the time. How many movie premieres do you, because really, even though Troma's made a ton of films, he hasn't directed all of them. And he hasn't had these big premieres for all of them.
Well, and he's only had one with Oz and Curtis.
That's right. And I still tell that story occasionally at school, and the kids have no idea who I'm talking about. But it still blows my mind that we just reached out on Troma's website and said, "Yeah, you need volunteers, we'll help." Next thing you know, we're dressed as the top 2 mascots in the company, dancing around a bookstore during a book signing, and then we get free autographs, we get free posters, we get front row seats next to the dude at the premiere of the movie, and we get to drive him to the premiere.
We get to drive him around Chicago
in your car, because he didn't want because basically I got the gist that because he thought we were cooler than the guy that was assigned to him. This is the guy that was like, no, I don't want him doing it. How about you guys take me? And it was still
okay, Lloyd Kaufman.
Right. It still kind of blows my mind. That all really happened.
Yeah.
And so if you're still listening, if not, I don't blame you.
I'm still listening.
Right. But for those that don't know who Lloyd Kaufman is, there's an independent film studio out of Hell's Kitchen, New York called Troma. You may have heard of easily their most successful movie, The Toxic Avenger. They made a cartoon out of it, a series of toys.
Crusaders, Crusaders.
And it really took off. But he founded this movie studio and basically gave the start to a ton of top shelf talent. The guys that created South Park got their start with Troma. Vincent D'Onofrio got a start with Troma. Kevin Costner's been in a Troma film.
James Gunn.
James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad fame got his start directing Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
So this guy started a movie studio in New York and just runs it independently. They are not good movies. Do not confuse them for film. This is celluloid, as he likes to call it. They are trash films. They are no holds barred, but they are made with love and passion and volunteers and nudity, and grossness,
and everything under the sun.
Right. Like if you have anybody in your life that is so ultra conservative that even saying a swear word offends them, do not let them around a trauma film.
Or do it and just watch what happens.
Or do it, and because if you do, they will turn into the honors, like the honors kids in class of Newcomb High. They won't say, when they'll turn into the Cretans. Well, that's still one of my favorite trauma films. Love that movie.
Newcomb High.
But so I'm rambling here, but yeah. So the guy who founded this studio is doing a movie premiere for his 4th Toxic Avenger movie. Curtis and I volunteered to help out in Chicago any way we could, and we end up like chauffeuring the guy around Chicago. He was just really cool. But his ties to film are there too. Like his longtime wife was like head of the ratings board in New York. He was the location scout for the original Rocky movie. Like, he knows his stuff. He's written some books. But the dude just loves filmmaking, and he's good at it. I can't say that they're good films, but he's good at making them.
Yeah.
So
he makes exactly the kind of film that he sets out to do.
Yep, and because he's independent, no one's going to stop him.
Yep,
and because his wife's the head of the rating board, not even the rating board. So, but yeah, a lot of good stuff there. So yeah, we definitely got to have a trauma month. There's probably enough material to have several trauma months spread out through our path to 20,000. But I am done rambling for the night. I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
Thanks for coming, and we will catch you guys next time.